All right, welcome everybody to the Monday Nooner Hockey Sask SGI Canada Provincial Playoff Reveal live show. Hey boys, we figured this out. We got it going on here. This is an exciting time of the year in senior hockey. It's time to find out who matches up against who in all the provincial rankings and or all the provincial brackets. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hey, we just had a quick look at this and this is exciting stuff. So Brandon's here, of course. Shane's here from the Monday Nooner podcast. And we have Kelly McClintock joining us from Hockey Sask. I think right off the hop, let's throw it to you, Kelly. Obviously, you're an old senior hockey guy here, right? So this is you guys do a lot of work at Hockey Sask. There's a lot of provincial draws going out right now. This is the senior one. There's got to be a little bit of excitement as an old senior guy when the old senior matchups come up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I had such good memories of playing senior hockey, and there was a lot more senior hockey teams 40 some years ago when I was playing. So we would have. I can remember my first provincials playing for Strasbourg, and 2 imports back then. It seemed like every rink was natural ice, and nothing was regular size rinks. But I think there was like over 45 teams in Provincial C, and it was 7 or 8 rounds for you to win. You usually had a week to get something done. So, I remember we played, I think 3 or 4 rounds, and we weren't even close to like a South final or something at that point. But it was pretty cool to play. I played Central Butte a couple of times, Gull Lake, Ituna, Lampman, Willow Bunch, kind of those places, and some of them don't even have teams anymore. So it was pretty cool back then.
Now, Kelly, what would you say about what we're going to get to today, this year's draw? We don't have the amount of teams that you had back then, but just your thoughts on participation and what we're going to see here for this year's draw.
We've got about the same number of teams as last year, Brandon. I think that, there's a couple of, you'll see there's some teams that didn't, that maybe dropped out or didn't enter after entering. And I think it's where, it's about the commitment level of guys nowadays. You don't see teams playing or leagues playing 24 or 28 games anymore. I remember playing 30 league games, and so there's a lot less commitment, I think. And so there's about 40 teams, and you've seen some teams that have combined, and I can outline which ones that I'm pretty sure that have combined in a couple of cases. But I think it's that, and then plus there's a few leagues that have different rules to keep more local kids playing, and it's a more local talent league. And I think some of those teams may have not entered because they just, one, commitment, 2, probably don't think they have a chance to get past the first round.
Now, I want to preface this by saying we know teams hold this close to their chest vest on where they're going, who their players are. So we're going to unveil the bracket. We have no insight into any of the players on rosters. So I just want to mention, if we do throw out names about guys going here or there, that is all, I guess, hearsay, Kelly, of what we've heard on the street, because there has been a lot of that. But just want to make that clear. Anything we mention with rosters, we have not seen those. It's all, how the rumor mill goes, right? So.
Oh yeah, listen, Derek and I get a lot of calls. What's interesting is December 1st is the deadline to apply. I would say 75% or more of the senior teams don't apply to the late deadline of September or December 8th, right? And I don't know why, but I guess they're holding things close to their vest. And then we get calls from, players going, hey, I heard that so-and-so put me on their roster. I don't want to play there. I'm playing somewhere else. I committed. Okay, you let us know. Thank you. Put it in writing, in an email, so that, if they come in with their name on, we'll stroke you off that roster. So we get all that kind of stuff too. So.
Hey, let's quickly also give a plug, because they've been sponsoring for quite a few years, as far as I remember. SGI Canada jumping on board here. They seem to be supporting this year after year.
Yeah, they've been really positive. It gives an opportunity also to recognize a lot of the local insurers that come out and maybe help do presentations. But they've been great in supporting us. And, we don't, the way we account for it, we don't really account for our time and all the stuff that we put in, but we do, spend a lot of money on banners and plaques and provincials. And a lot of time going out to do the presentations and final games. And there's a lot of coordination, especially from the officiating end to get people assigned, etc. So there's a lot of expense behind the scenes, but it's all worth it in the end. So they've been a great supporter.
Yeah, awesome for SGI Canada. As we go on here, of course, Monday Nooner, we're going to mention some of our sponsors because this wouldn't happen without them. Our title sponsor, the King of Trucks in Rosetown, Saskatchewan, Mainline GM and Mainline Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, huge supporters of senior hockey up there in the area around the province. So thanks to the King of Trucks as well. And then if you didn't tune into our show this week, we had a new senior hockey top 10 for General Well Servicing. And there was some changes right out of the Christmas break. It was pretty fun. I'll run it down quickly. In 10, we had Kyle and Belts. You were a little bit surprised there that Kyle finally made it up into the top 10.
I was surprised. I'm glad a little bit of north of the river there got in on the number 4. And I'm glad the boys made her. Yeah.
Barney, the only senior team that doesn't follow us on Twitter out of 105,
still.
the Kyle Elks.
105 teams, boys.
Hey, and I'm an alumni. So
there we go.
Yeah, there we go. Kelly, you might be the Mike Sillinger of senior hockey. Like, how many teams have you played on? The ninth ranked team this week was a team that Brandon had early in the season. They're back in, the Odessa Vibank Bruins. Number 8, undefeated from up north. I call them my boys, playing out of the Beardy's Okemesas Reserve, the Willow Cree Chiefs. Number 7, the Windherd Monarchs. Number 6, Rock City. Number 5, the Davidson Cyclones, they dropped. Are we going to have a little nugget for all you Davidson Cyclone fans right away? Number 4 from the big sexy Redvers. Number 3, Wadena, who just shaded Davidson last week. Number 2, the Double Banner Boys and from Kenniston, the Blizz. And the number 1 ranked team, they've pretty much been there all season with us, the Kindersley Senior Clippers. All right, so where are we going to start? Joe is working the machine in the back here. Joe, you're going to get it fired up, and let's see our first matchup in the ever popular. You know what? We'll give this one to Great Western Brewing. The Great Western Brewing Senior D. We're going to go through here. Sign up for the beer deal. Your team get a little kickback action. We've talked about it a lot on the podcast. So Joe, the first matchup in D, who do we have? Oh, there it is. The Twitterless Kyle Elks.
They have Twitter.
They have
just don't
Twitter. They
follow
just
us.
don't follow us.
Yeah, from the Sask Valley, they match up with the Bigger Nationals out of the Sask West, who actually went A last year. So Bigger goes from Provincial A to Provincial D this year, and they get the pesky Kyle Elks in round 1, North quarterfinal.
And we have to mention, right? We don't know the rosters. We don't know what's going on in D. How many imports allowed in D, Kelly?
Well, whether you're BC or D, you get 3 imports and 2 non-imports. So those non-imports would have been an import for more than 3 consecutive years.
Okay, and Kyle, of course, we know this year they lost a good chunk of their imports, went up to Leroy, Saskatchewan. We're going to get to them in a bit. So this first matchup, Bigger and Kyle, I don't know. Are we going to do a little prediction action? Are we going to wait for a bracket?
Yeah, let's go through all the matchups. We'll put up the bracket, and then I want everybody, I don't know if Kelly's allowed or not with his position, but we'll all pick a North and a South finalist once we see. Let's go to matchup 2.
Matchup 2.
Matchup 2 in D.
Ooh,
It's a good one.
couple nice logos.
I like it.
The Kerrobert Tigers, still one of the best bars as far as the hockey rink goes.
Yeah.
Taking on the Delisle Brewers. And Delisle, who did they just play tight last week?
Kenniston.
Yeah,
Kenniston.
Kenniston.
10-8. Over betters were thrilled with that one.
I wonder, I wish we had the rosters. I wonder if Kerrobert convinced the veteran, the big retirement last year, Tyson Watney, to suit up in provincials. Not sure on that, but Kerrobert and Delisle, they go at it in D. Next one.
Oh,
wow. Okay, I want to make note of this. So the last 2 draws were provincial quarterfinals in the North. This is a semifinal. So
right.
we'll show you the bracket after, but these teams are, I guess, kind of one ahead in terms of getting a bye as opposed to the other 2 teams. But I'd call this a bit of a heavyweight matchup, fellas, in the north with the Craig
Yeah.
Warriors and the Macklin Mohawks.
Does Macklin know what they're getting into in the Crake Arena?
Do,
That's what I want to know.
do they?
You know,
do they know the?
I had lots of conversations with the fellows from Crake, you know, trying to get into other leagues, you know, in the summertime. And I said, you know, a lot of the concerns is about the rink. And I said, it's the same rink I played in 42 years ago at one of my first senior hockey games. I said, the thing hasn't changed. So
I wonder if Macklin thinks Mike Reach is retired with the Bauer Nexus is going up on Marketplace. So a little tidbit there.
One interesting note here. Last year, Kenniston obviously won D, and they went through both of these teams. I guess we'll find out here in a couple of slides if Kenniston is going D or if they've moved this year. So let's keep her going.
Oh, this
Next
is that's a great matchup.
Ooh, this is a good matchup.
This is the South.
The
This
Butte.
is the South side. Central
South side.
Carnduff, Carnduff going D. That's, I think, a little bit. I think they've been B or C in the past, possibly both. I don't know the last time they would have gone D, but.
So just so you know, Brandon, in C and D, teams apply for C and D, and then we take their populations, and then we split them in half to make sure the draws are, you know, you don't want 4 in one draw and 20 in another. So
I was kind of going to ask you about that off the top. I think that happened, well, probably several years, but I think last year for sure. So
you bet.
interesting for sure. Central Butte and Carnduff, the
It'll be a good
general well
matchup.
servicing club out there. One of our sponsors from Carnduff.
Yeah, Central Butte gets home ice in this one too. We'll see if that plays in. On to the next one. Senior
The
D.
Buffs.
Hey, they said, didn't they just tell us that there was something surprising coming?
They did. And here I was joking that maybe they were loading up and going A, but contrary to that, the Theodore Buffaloes, who were in B last year, and I know that because they lost to the Wadena Wildcats, I think, in the first round. They go D this year, and they get the Lucky Lake Lakers. Is that the home of former guest Darren Kimball?
Yes.
It is, yeah.
And
You know, he'll have an eye on that from Illinois, where he lives now.
I'm thinking that this is a long jaunt. There's a little
It
bit of
is a long
traveling.
time. Yeah, once we Barney, once we get to the draw, I'll be able to maybe explain a little bit more. But
Okay.
Perfect.
it makes it tough, you know, and I can point this out from draw to draw.
And you kind of work it, obviously, so teams wouldn't play first round back-to-back years if you can avoid that.
Avoid, you know, even I look for the last couple of years. I don't want to see teams, you know, play each other even every 2 years in the first round, and then if at all possible, not play somebody from their own league.
Nice.
Right?
Excellent. So that's a South semifinal. So if my math's correct, that should be all the brackets for Provincial D, a little heavier on the north. If we want to go to the next slide, I think we'll see
There we
the
go.
landscape. There it is. Going to be some March Madness happening here.
So I have a quick question, Kelly. How do you guys decide, like if we call it the north side, how do you guys decide that Macklin and Crake are going to go to the semi? Like we'll call it a bye. They basically got the bye.
Well, what I take a look at when we made the draw, Shane, is, you know, so Bigger, Robert, Macklin all playing the same league. Kyle, Delisle, Central Butte playing the same league. But you know, Lucky Lake also plays in that league. So I got to just make some decisions,
Right,
one way or the other, right, in terms of where people go. So
You're like a politician. You're never going to make everybody happy, Kelly.
Right.
no, not at all.
So breakdown here, I guess you mentioned those leagues. 4 teams from the Sask Valley, 3 from the Sask West, 1 from the Sask East, a representative from the Big Six, and a representative from the Wheatland. So that's the breakdown for Provincial D. Shane, who do you have on the prognostication of the Provincial final?
Okay, on my north side, I'm going to take Craig and Kyle. They're going to battle. I got to go with the boys. I got to go with Mikey, my buddy there. I got to go with Craig in the final, and I think they're going to be taken on. I think it's going to be Carnduff and the Buffs in the semi over there, but I think Carnduff's going to take it. I think we're going to have a Carnduff-Craig matchup in the D final.
Barry?
I'm going to go Kyle comes out there, and Kyle takes on Theodore in the final. And my GB Construction D provincial champion is
Okay.
Kyle.
Okay.
Okay. You know what?
You're picking a champ.
To play this a little bit differently and to mix it up a little bit, I'm going to take the Macklin Mohawks out of the north. They were really good last year, won the Sask West. I understand their league team maybe lost a few pieces. Obviously not sure on the provincial roster, but good club in Macklin. Going to take them out of the north. In the south, I'm going to go with General Well and our sponsor in Carnduff, going to support them and the Red Devils as a provincial champion over Macklin in Provincial D.
Nice.
This is, you know what? There isn't the quantity, but I'm telling you, there's quality here.
Yeah.
Right.
Some good teams.
Right from puck drop.
And maybe Bigger or Robert or Delisle or Lucky Lake will surprise all of us, or Central Butte. Would love to see that, but
now you're just appeasing everybody in every town.
I'm a politician.
Really putting your raisins on the line.
The game's not won on paper, so we'll see what happens in February and March.
All right,
Provincial D.
Let's move on. Let's move on to C. And 2020 Geomatics. We love Malcolm Vanstone and everything he does, and I know he follows C really closely. I don't know if he does. I just made
Big
that up.
C guy.
He actually
Malcolm a plug.
It's actually the only one he pays attention to.
Yeah.
I've heard he doesn't worry about A, B, or D.
He'll tell you a long story about it.
Because he's a C kind of guy, right? He's the captain. All right, first matchup, Joseph in C.
Ooh, the
North
Bamfords.
final matchup.
Your boys, the Bamfords.
Those are my boys last year, right? Birch Hills and I, we kind of had a little, we had a summer thing,
Little
a winter
fling.
thing last year, and
A little fling.
and they have home ice over the Rosetown Red Wings. This is a good matchup.
Shouty Scotty's Red Wings. They'll be ready to buzz. They'll be down low, taking pictures of the lower carriage. They'll be ready to go.
I don't know if Rosetown went provincials last year.
No, last year, they the one line was picked up by Outlook.
Right. They won a banner. Yeah. They won Provincial B. So nice to see Rosetown back in the fold for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Kelly, Kelly, maybe just mention I don't know, it's been 6, 7, 8 years now. It doesn't seem that long. But what a job that Keegan McAvoy and all those guys did in Rosetown when they had that AAA run. Like, that franchise was second to none.
Yeah, they did a great job, and then they hosted the Allen Cup, and did a great job there as well. And it was, if I recall, it was right around the time of the Humboldt crash that they hosted the Allen Cup. So there was lots of real emotions around, in the hockey and that, but it was a great event in Rosetown that they held.
All right.
Home of the Banner Barn.
On to the next one.
Ooh. The winner of Birch Hills Rosetown gets the Eston Pretenders, the Ramblers. They've got some skill for sure, Eston. I just want to buy into those guys, and then they lose 11-2.
Oh, we try Eston so much.
Maybe some of their top end guys are stuck in Mexico, like we talked about on the show. Maybe they're waiting for reinforcements.
Yeah.
By the way, I saw a guy tweet that all hockey coaches are kind of pumped up about senior coaches about the Sunwing cancellations January and February.
That was blasphemy when I played. If some guy went on a ski trip or a winter holiday playing senior hockey, like, you would not be asked back to your team ever again. So it's a complete change nowadays.
Yeah. Oh, and you must have heard the stories over the years. Hey, this is the deadline. Oh, we can't play. This guy's injured, or this guy's house burnt down, or whatever. And meanwhile, they're in Mexico.
Or the provincial final where it was a stag in Montreal, so they had to take half the team, and I'm going, too bad, you got to play provincials, and they went to the stag in Montreal, right? So
really,
yeah.
Montreal, though, good time, right?
Yeah,
like, let's be honest.
That was a provincial final. So.
Yeah.
Hot dogs. Hot dogs.
I won't call out who the team was. So
fair enough.
Stags and marriages come and go. Provincial finals could be a one-time thing.
Let's go to the next one. Next semifinal.
Porcupine playing the Blues. I like it.
Nice to see them in the fold. And the Dinsmore Dynamos defending champions in Provincial C. So looking to repeat. And yeah.
A lot of miles in this series as well. These places aren't close to each other.
Yeah, that's when, when you don't have as many teams and we get to the draw again, when you see where teams are, what leagues are from in there, that's what causes some of it.
And Dynamo's got the home ice there. There we go. Oh, look at
Over
the
to
boys.
the south.
Look at the my alma mater, the Bethune Bulldogs and the Langenberg Moskalooks going at it. Langenberg home ice here. Hey guys, let's be honest. Langenberg's a good squad.
Yeah.
But the Bulldogs have been pesky.
It'll be a good series. This is going to be a real good one.
Nice to see Bethune back in the fold too.
Absolutely.
In provincials, obviously they had a pretty good team there for a number of years in provincial. Hey, that's an interesting series though. That'll be a good one. And I want to throw this out there as we move to the next one, because I got a sneak peek at what it's going to be. This might be the matchup of the provincials. The next one that Shane's going to go to.
Wow. Oh, what a heater right off the first round, Kelly. You just picked a heater.
This is get the Last Mountain Distillery. Rent the limo bus, rent the limos from Willie's Roadhouse in Bethune.
BOTG.
I'm going to one of these games.
Oh, all of them. What are these? Like we talked about on the show, I said Davidson and Kenniston, didn't I? We're only half an hour apart. And then I got crucified for that. How far is Davidson from Kenniston?
I got crucified. I thought it was whatever time I
They're not that far.
No, it's a nice Highway 11 rivalry.
Little buzz. Ride your bike.
Oh, you got to remember Davidson, Bladworth, Kenniston, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a juicy matchup. And Davidson's been on our radar in the top 5 for like the last 4 weeks. Obviously, Kenniston's been in the top 3 for the last 2 years. So,
and Davidson's got home ice in this one. Didn't bother Kenniston last year against Craik in the final. I'll say that, but you never know.
And you know what I heard is,
I heard that. Are you good? Are you
go ahead? Go ahead.
I was going to say that Davidson made some roster moves. Allegedly, haven't seen the rosters. Sam Clausen coming back to play for Davidson, I think, as far as provincial goes. And I know they made some changes to their other imports, maybe from the start of the season. So,
and Kenniston, right? Like they lost a couple of guys this year. No word on how Mr. Australia, that was coming up here in February. I think the kid going to play in the World Juniors for Australia. And then of course they lost Josh Roach earlier in the year to go play in Belfast. So, this is a ring-a-ding-dong Last Mountain Distillery dandy.
I don't know if Mike Perpich, the former leader of Kenniston, who retired after last year, there's rumblings they were thinking about saving a card for him, still waiting for that knee surgery. So I wonder if he made the roster or not.
Roman and I had to stop in Kenniston on our way to Kindersley a few weeks ago and drain things. And I saw a guy in the Kenniston rink skating all by himself with the hiking backpack, like
knee brace?
weights.
Knee brace.
Yeah.
And a lady on the bench blowing the whistle.
It was dark, and I heard
Perpich.
Survivor on the speakers, and that's a great matchup. Yeah, this is a classic right here. All right, on to the next one.
Ooh, I like this one too.
A couple of R logos.
Team Moose Jaw.
The grass is going to be growing down here by the time these guys get nice and warm way down south.
You'll be harvesting already.
Well, I think this in this one, Redverse certainly with the Millers back this year, they'll make them a lot more competitive.
They're definitely, shouldn't say definitely, from everything we've heard and seen, they're the class right now of the Big Six Hockey League, and obviously Assiniboia is the class of their league. I did hear, and like I said, say that some of Watrous' players have signed with Redvers. Now that was something I might have read on. Kelly's given me a look like,
it's
not a thing.
No,
they didn't pick up a goalie.
I'm
We'll
not
find
sure on
out.
Did
that.
they-
Yeah.
Did they buy a helicopter? Because Watrous to Red versus
I was gonna
way.
say that is a
Hey,
hike.
You're better
When-
off picking up a guy from Cranbrook.
Barney, wait till we get to Provincial A. We're talking border to border in the province. Some of these
Boys
teams, guys,
are
they got.
buzzing.
All right, next for provincials.
We got the
CSC.
bracket.
The bracket. All right.
So
Okay,
again,
there's-
this is another where you take a look at, got Rosetown, Eston, Dinsmore, Kenniston, all in the same league. You don't want to put them all on the same side like that.
Right.
And then it's just a matter of, if you're looking at the South, if you're Redverse, who do they play in the first round, right? And so sent them to Assiniboia. I think Assiniboia played Cardiff last year, if I recall.
Mhm.
And in Langenberg, they're out there, but who's close to Langenberg? So
That's only a couple. Well, it'd be 2.5 probably from Bethune.
It's only a few.
Good 2.5, maybe 3.
yeah.
Yes.
So
Oh,
yeah,
man.
is there a little bit of travel, and and who do you make travel? So
11 teams in C, it looks like.
Man.
Good representation, like you said, from the Sask Valley for sure. Okay,
You
I'll go first. I'll
Yeah,
go
you
first.
go first.
Dinsmore, defending champions. They're going to run it back, at least in the north.
Yeah.
And the South, this South gets a
The
little
South's
tougher.
hot. Like there's
Like-
so many good teams in the South.
Langenberg has one of the best lines in the province. Honestly, they've got a good goalie and some other good guys. Davidson, Kenniston, just flip a coin.
Assiniboia, Redverse.
You know what?
That's a battle.
I'm going to take Davidson. I think they could get by Kenniston. I think they play a little tighter game on the back end. Davidson and Dinsmore.
Who's the champ? Who you taking?
Davidson Cyclones.
Davidson,
Provincial C
okay.
champ.
Okay.
so a repeat final, you're saying, from last year.
Yeah. I feel like I'm sliding Kenniston, so I'm sure I'll
Yeah.
hear about that.
Okay, Shink, you go.
It's hard not to go with that. But
Uh-oh.
you know what? I'm going to go out here. I'm going to say maybe Dinsmore guys, maybe a few of them have some WestJet flights booked. I'm going to take Eston in a surprise.
Ooh.
Maybe Eston signs some Etonia guys or some guys from Cabe. Who knows? I'm going to go Eston just to be different coming out of there. And hey, like I said, I bought stock when these guys were Amazon and all they sold was books online. I bought the Davidson stock early. And I'm riding the Cyclones. They're going to be the Provincial C champs.
Switch it up, Shane.
I'm gonna switch it up. I'm just gonna throw it at you. We don't know much about Porcupine Plain. Maybe they got some sleepers. They're gonna squeak by Dinsmore. And if they squeak by Dinsmore, they're gonna make it into the final. I think I'll take Porcupine Plain in the final on the north side. The south side, I gotta go. Man, I hate sliding Kenniston because I think they're so good.
One of us should probably pick them.
I
Double
think,
banners last year.
I think they're going to end up in the South final, but I think Redverse is going to beat them, and I think Redverse is going to win C Provincials this
I
year.
think I was about to say, I don't know if they could be sneaky for sure.
Yeah,
Especially if they did potentially add anybody. I don't know. Their league team is lost one game in the Big Six, and I think it was early in the year, and they were very shorthanded. They just beat Mooseman, who's good 8-1 on Saturday. So
Yeah.
Shane,
I like Redverse.
Shane might never pay for a Great Western product in the Redverse bar again by
I
saying
like it. I
Yeah,
like it.
pickled eggs and beer for life.
Oh, so good. Let's roll.
All right.
All right,
that
here
was
we go.
C.
B.
Let's go into B.
Who's B? Who's bringing us B Barn?
Synergy AG.
Egg
Input, fellas.
retailer.
Yeah.
Hamner and the fellas. Bunch
They
of
have-
beauties.
They're putting up shops everywhere. They're like the little coffee shops in the States. They're like on every corner.
like the
No.
second cups.
All right, Joe, let's roll.
Ooh. Another
Well,
nice
look-
matchup.
that's.
Boz's boys. The
I
Wagons.
like both these teams. I like
You do,
Rocanville
you do.
because
you're very
Jeff
conflicted
Hodges.
here. You're conflicted.
I am super conflicted on this one. But by the way, guys, the Wadena Bakery's for sale, $700,000. If you're in the market, they actually are giving the secret recipe with the
Boston cream.
sale of the bakery. Anyway, Wadena, anybody who's seen them this year knows they look good. I watched them last year lose to Outlook by 1 goal in a series they easily could have won. And then obviously we know Outlook went on to win. So I think the Cats are an older team. They got a lot of veterans. They've been facing some injuries this year. I feel like they think this might be the last dance. You know, it's got that kind of vibe to it.
I'm going to throw out some erroneous information that I heard. And the Rocanville Tigers signed Blair DeBruin to play goal. He's the only guy that can stop the Wadena Wildcats. Rocanville,
Yeah.
bringing him in.
I think you'll see some Foam Lake guys playing for Wadena.
Oh,
Ooh,
Oh, geez.
there's a
Cats,
nugget.
They don't
That is a
rebuild, they
nugget.
reload.
The
All right,
here we
ones,
go.
yeah,
Next
next.
matchup.
Next
that's
one.
a good one.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah.
another good one. Barney's boys.
Let's go, Willow Cree. They don't
Cree,
get home
jeez.
ice, though. Come on.
Barney's boys in my hometown. We might have to place a wager on this one,
Oh,
Barry.
some money.
Absolutely. We will sprinkle on this one. Wilkie with home ice. Strong team, eh, Kelly?
Yeah, they are. I think having the Keller boy move over from Outlook to Wilkie, that will certainly help them as well.
And you know what? It's really nice to see Willow Cree and what they've done there on the res to bring hockey back.
Yeah, it's really important there, and they've been, they had some really good senior teams for a long time, so it's good to see.
You know
Awesome.
what? I think home ice, like Barney mentioned, could potentially be a factor in the sense that they won't have to go to Willow Creek twice, because from what we've heard, that is a hostile, rowdy crowd who is quite
Love it.
passionate, and it's a tough place to go in and play. So could be a factor.
It could be, well,
You want to go for the Bannock burgers though.
Oh,
absolutely.
so good.
Or hey, like I've said, that little, just when you turn there off the highway, that gas station, man, they sell Bannock.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Let's go to the south. Well, we've seen the 2 North semifinals. Ooh, Big Six, the Big Six with a head-to-head.
Cats.
Yeah, this is where, when we get to the draw, you'll see where you start getting into trouble when you have a lot of teams from one league.
That's right. Well, it's a good matchup. Two of the top half for sure. The Big Six, both good clubs. I did hear that maybe Carlisle did add some guys, maybe from Wawota area. So I'm not sure if that came to fruition. One name I heard was Jesse Gabriel. I don't know if he made it onto the roster or not. Pats fans might be familiar with him, but yeah, they get Oxbow, who's been sneaky surprised this year. Really good team.
Hey, Kelly, when you run into this situation and I guess a town's population and they're going B, is there anything that you can do to maybe, I don't want to say convince, but to say, you guys are close to going C, and if you play B, you're going to have to play against, teams from your league, anything like that, or is that hard to do?
That's hard to do because a lot of it is where they draw their players from, who they're going to pick players from up.
Right.
It's tough to do.
Right.
So, but I think that what we want to do down, with surveying our, all the teams in the next month or so is, if we're going to change things, look at saying, let's just don't call them non-imports, just call them imports. Because if you notice, the closer you get to the cities, it's a lot easier to have non-imports, right? Because it's, and it's more difficult for the teams that are further away to have non-imports. Imports, yes. So it might be a matter that, throw out the ideas that if you're in D, you get 3 imports. If you're in C, you get 4 imports. If you're in B, you get 5 imports, and then adjust with the population. So that might, as an idea.
Yeah.
Semi-final 2.
I love
sorry.
the survey idea. You're going to get a lot of good feedback there. Yeah. Joseph, next one.
Ooh.
Kind of a
Another good
nice
matchup.
2 different leagues, but kind of close in proximity on the highway.
Yeah,
Number
not
one,
super far.
you don't have to travel 3 hours. So it'll be nice for that fans to go back and forth, but probably about an hour apart. Grenfell and Mooseman, obviously
But-
Mooseman Big Six, Grenfell from the Qu'Appelle Valley Highway Hockey League.
Like the spit wagons.
The Spits need a new logo.
Oh, that's bad.
Dale Hardy is going to work it into
So
next
bad.
year's budget.
That
So
is
it'll be-
Windows
so-
94 style.
It'd be interesting where they play their Grenfell plays their home games, right? So it won't be in Grenfell, right? I think they've
Thought
been
that
playing
rink's
their
back
home.
and
I think they're
Is it
back
back and
now.
running?
I
Okay,
think
I think
it
they're
is,
up and
yeah.
running.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
painted that logo. That's what took so long.
A little bit of
Center ice.
glue in their back.
I'm wondering if that logo has like some sort of historic, like somebody drew it in the war.
Yeah.
Somebody won a contest for sure.
Somebody drew it in the war. Is that what you said?
I don't know. There
Somebody
better
won
be
a contest.
there better be a good reason and not a coloring book contest. That's all I can say.
Well, just some history. Moosomin used to play in the Capel Valley League, and there used to be an East-West division. So I was playing in the West division, and the East division was Indian Head, Wolseley, Grenfell, Whitewood, Moosomin in those days.
Excellent.
So,
And
Brandon-
the Red Barn's the best restaurant in the province. So if you're from Grenfell, take the trip and go for a
That's what I was going to
Danos
say.
burger.
Moosomin is I might have to take a trip out to watch a game.
Absolutely
Live
on the
show.
radar. Best
On to the
lounge,
next.
also best lounge in the province
Boots
to
on
watch
the
senior
ground.
games from. It's very
Yes.
cool. Let's
Wow.
get to
Here we
the
go. Here's the bracket.
simple. 8
Yeah,
teams.
Simple,
so we got-
easy, and clean.
I think the key here is, you got 8 teams, and you have to look at, I have
3 from the
Broken-
Big Six.
and I got Rokenville playing Wadena. Like, there's really no north, right? So that's the most difficult here, where you got really 6
Right.
teams in the south and 2, and who's going to play who, right? So
We'll call the Wadena side the north side. We'll call the Carlisle side the south side.
You know
Make
what?
it easy.
Yeah, because Rokenville and Moosomin would probably be as close of towns in proximity as any of them. But it's what you got to do, right? It's
Yeah.
Barney, you're up. You lead this one off in C or
Oh,
B. Sorry.
Lordy. I'm trying to
Berries,
think of this.
boys.
Trying to think of this. Some of these road trips again. Oh,
I got
talk about
mine. I'm ready.
Miles. I got to ride Willow Cree, but then I
Good
think
boys.
Wadena is just too much there. Wadena is going to come out of the that side, and Grenfell, and then Wadena takes it.
Wadena Grenfell.
Yeah.
Beltsy.
I don't mind your pick, but I'm gonna stick with one of our former guests, Kelsey. I think Wilkie is gonna face Wadena, and if they're gonna squeak one out, they're gonna get to that final. I agree with Barney. I think Grenfell's gonna come out, but I think Wilkie is gonna take Provincial B on the heels of Ryan Keller.
Ooh. You know what? I'm kind of caught between a rock and a hard place here, because I got my hometown and the town that's kind of adopted me in Wadena, and I'm going to have to pick one of the two. You know what? I'm going to take Rokenville. I'm going to avoid both of those situations. I'm going to take Rokenville out of the north, keep everybody happy, Audgie's boys out there, and I'm going to take Grenfell. They're going to knock off Oxbow in the South final, and then going to take the Spits and that snazzy logo to win it all.
Nice.
Good
All
goalie,
right.
well-rounded team. They just need guys to show up, which hopefully they do in provincials.
Oh, great hockey.
I
indeed.
like it. Yeah.
All
NB.
right.
Okay, here we go. This is what we've been waiting for. This is the show, the dance. Who's A going to?
A's a split between our friends from the Rusty Shovel, and let's also go with GB Construction again, right? They both put spades in the grounds kind of and then dig up the dirt. So let's get the dirt on A here, Joseph.
12 teams before we dive in.
Oh, the
10Ks.
19ers versus the 10Ks. It's
The
a battle of numbers.
10Ks.
That's such an
Now-
inside joke.
I haven't heard anything about Lorburn. Like, obviously, they've done some recruiting. Clearly, they've been quiet. They've been close to the chest vest. We haven't heard
Yes.
anything about their additions, unless somebody else has. I certainly have not. Obviously, we know Leroy's been in the 10K department all season, but
Was that your
Interesting.
poker tell, Kelly? When you play with your mustache? Is that a tell?
Yeah,
of some
yeah,
sort?
exactly.
Yeah, no, it's
that could be a Katy Perry dark horse pick there. Lorburn, don't know anything about them.
they got the home ice in that beautiful barn of theirs. All right, on to the next
Did they
one.
team up with somebody, Kelly, or what?
To be honest, guys, I haven't looked at the roster.
Okay.
Derek looks after all of it.
Good enough. Ooh.
Pesky.
Oh,
Now the
Pesky
half
Hafford Hawks.
yes,
Hafford.
this is a
No,
joint
I know this one,
venture.
fellas. This
Yeah.
is Edam players playing in Hafford.
Okay.
And you know what? That is going to be a good team between those two. Like, I think they're going to have a pretty formidable roster. with players from both teams. So that's interesting. Meadow Lake, we know they've got a lot of good locals. I imagine from historically they've picked up some St. Walburg area guys. I imagine they'll do that again this year like they did last year. Haven't heard or seen anything, but I'd imagine that's their play up there.
Remember their roster picture when they played Drake last year, and they had that, like, they looked like a penal league. They were scary looking.
A lot of cowboys, a lot of chuck wagon drivers, bull riders.
Loved everything about it. Hey, Kelly, have you heard? Are they rebuilding the rink there? Where do things stand with the new rink after the fire in Meadow?
Yeah, there's I've seen the plans for a new rink. It's looking at around 1,600 seats. We're hosting our Saskatchewan Hockey Hall of Fame induction dinner next August up in Meadow Lake. So share the proceeds with them. But yeah, plans look good, and I might start building within a year. So I think they're just waiting on some funding. So
awesome.
So that's a quarterfinal matchup. So was the first one. Right now we're going to see oh my goodness.
This is a heater.
Hold the phones.
What a heater, Kelly.
These are my two favorite. These are my two finalists, and they're playing in the North semifinal.
What a heater.
This is our Revive Men's Health Clinic. Boner matchup. Is this ever unreal? Like, how does a guy not go take in one of these games?
Wow.
The Drake Canucks, Brandon, just brief. What do we hear again?
What are you hearing?
So I've talked to guys on the roster, so I'm confident in this. They signed 4 players from Foam Lake: Travis Mahan, Zach Zetarodniak, who are 1 and 2 in the Long Lake in scoring. So you add those guys to the punch. They've added 3 guys from Turtleford, which is about 700 kilometers away.
Wow.
But I think they're all McDonald's. Justin is the goalie, and I think that was kind of who Drake was really trying to solidify the goaltending. And then Austin McDonald, I remember watching him with the Lloydminster Bobcats, captain, I think, of the AJHL team when I lived there. He's going to Drake along with the third brother. I don't know his name, but he's part of the package, plus the Foam Lake guys. So seven additions for sure.
Ronnie. Hey, I'm telling you right now, I think home ice advantage plays a huge factor in this series.
Can I comment on Kindersley as well?
Yeah.
They've picked up Kyler Hope, who played with them last year. He plays for Lashburn. He's one of the top, I don't know, however many senior players in the province. He was fresh out of NCAA. They picked up the 2 Stevensons on the back end as well. The guy I said I didn't know who he was, who played in the American League, he's going to Kindersley. And then I think Logan Stevenson, who played in Outlook last year as well. So,
and Big Mac is just going to coach. So that's an advantage for the Clippers, but Big Mac will be good on the bench.
You know what? I'd give him a card just in case you need an intimidation factor.
Do some scrapping.
Drake's been average in league, like we've talked about, but I think this is where they've set their focus is on this. And it's about as good as it gets, fellas, I think, anyway.
Wow. What a matchup.
I watched, I was at game 2 and 3 of the provincial final against Meadow Lake, and just Drake's depth last year was exceptional. I think what hurt Meadow Lake in the end is Cullen Morin wasn't there, and in game 3 that hurt them on the back end, and so I think their guys got pretty tired by the third period.
After this series, whoever wins this series, they're going to need an Arctic Spa from Arctic Spa, Regina or Saskatoon. Remember, you get $500 to $1,000 off, I think, if you mention that you're on a senior hockey team, if you buy an Arctic Spa. So another Monday Nooner sponsor. Thanks to the Arctic Spa family for sponsoring that.
Move off of Kelly's dirty first round heater here. We'll move to the next.
Let's go to the south. Yeah, let's go south.
It's another nice matchup. Another nice matchup. This could be the high-tech profile matchup in the south.
Yes.
Kelly, I would imagine that as we get into the South, we're going to see a lot of teams from the Capel League because they typically all do go A. I'd imagine plenty more to come here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has Gubba added anything, fellas, in Belcaris? I know he wanted you guys to play a game last weekend.
I checked with Gubba today if I was on the roster. He said I didn't quite make the cut, but said that they added Douglas from Yellowgrass was their big acquisition going into A. So
first name
Bernie's going to have his
name?
handful.
First name or last name?
That's all he gave me.
I-
So there's
Chicken scratch.
there's some Douglases there from McTaggart area.
Yeah.
but
Let's just say they were in on some other guys. They maybe didn't land too, but we won't get into that.
I heard there was a bidding war that they didn't win. Yes.
Gubba sent us his lineup, or somebody sent us the
Gabba.
Valkeris lineup, and it was
On a napkin.
handwritten, and I
Napkin.
would have had a better chance of reading German than
It was-
what he sent.
It was like chicken scratch. It was just their nicknames too. So it'd be like,
Yeah, it was like when
Billy.
you go to the doctor and you get a prescription. It's like, what the hell is
Yeah.
this?
next matchup. Next.
Oh, another nice one. It's like another good one. Wynyard.
Yeah, they've got Wynyard. I don't know how many additions they have. I do know they have some. They've got a really good league team. The one highlight that we have had confirmed, knock on wood, is Mac Shields, goalie from Lanigan, who's been
What
a
a name.
stud in the Long Lake. Apparently, he is going to be minding the net for Wynyard, so that's a big boost for them.
I have way too much on my plate, but I'm going to tell you, if anyone contacts our friends from Access Communications and they want to roll the truck out for one of these games, we'll call this game.
We'll
We'll
do
call
it.
one of these
Yeah.
games.
Yeah. We'll go buzz
shit,
one out.
yeah. Live
How's,
show.
has Lumsden added anybody, Bob? Heard any rumors out of Lumsden? Pretty close to.
I don't know. I'd imagine they'd be similar to their league team, but I don't know. Do not know.
they generally stick pretty close to their league team on an annual basis.
Yeah.
Wynyard can roll in to Last Mountain Distillery and pick up some of the good stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully 2 games there. We get nice and close to Regina for us to drive. So great matchup. On to the next one.
The last one. This is it, fellas.
Another good man. The Marlins. Haven't heard much about them this year.
The
Pretty
fish
quiet.
tank.
Out in the
They
fish tank.
they
The
almost had that
aquarium.
Cinderella run last year.
They did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they took Drake to the limit, didn't they? Overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overtime game 3.
Yeah.
And then Odessa has been much
OV.
improved. Like they hadn't been very good for a few years, but this year they've added. I know they added a goalie and Holtby and some other good pieces. So yeah, Odessa could give guys a. Well,
I beg Odessa Vibank to play one of the games in Vibank.
I'll be out there this weekend. All weekend.
Actually, it would look like what is it called? T-Mobile in Vegas compared to Craig.
if
But,
there's
that's
a game
cold
there
bar.
though, that's a nice road trip from East Regina.
It is.
You know, when
Or from
Brandon
north to
being-
south.
Brandon being from Wilkie, it was like the Say team. But when I played against Vibank, it was the Flamin team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They're almost all Flamins on the team.
Oh, I know.
All right, we get to the draw here, boys.
I know a couple of Flamins.
This
Talk
is
about
the
weapons.
Provincial A draw. There it is.
Okay, I see what you did there. Yeah, Drake Kindersley basically. Yeah, that's probably where they should be.
Well,
They got
the
their
key part
bye.
here, when you have as many teams, from the Capel Valley League as you do,
Five.
and,
Yeah.
and then you look in the north, and it's there's some big first round matchups, but you got to beat somebody at some point.
This is Provincial A. There should be no easy outs, in my
No.
opinion, right?
Outside of the box thinking here, I know we're not going to do this, but if this was a video game, we slide Drake and Kindersley over, and then the winner of that plays the loser of Keniston and Davidson
Yeah,
from
there
the
we
other
go.
division. Those guys should be going A anyway. Then they
It's like a curling bonspiel triple knockout.
yeah,
Triple knockout.
exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
Uh,
so I know Lorburn's obviously got ads. I just don't know. Like, obviously I don't know who they have, but man, that's a lot of good
Yeah.
matchups.
So
All right.
many good ones. I guess it's back to me. Hey, so I'll go first. It's really tough to go against the champs, but man, having Kindersley in our top 10 all year, knowing they probably added a few pieces, Big Mac will be running the with Kindersley coming out of we'll call it the north. Oh, and I got to go with Wynyard coming out of the south, but I think Kindersley takes it. I think Kindersley's going to be your A provincial champs in 2023.
They're definitely gearing up for it, no doubt. Oh man.
I'll go.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I know what I'm going with here. Here we go. All right. Coming out of the north, the Hafford Edam squad
Wow.
And they're going to take on in the final, a surprising final. I would sprinkle on this in Vegas. Odessa Vibank comes out of the South because those other teams are going to beat the living snot out of each other. So by the time they get to that final there, and then Hafford wins a.
Wow. That's a bold prediction, Cotton. We'll see how that works out for you.
Based on what Leroy did in league and the guys they brought in, I wouldn't be surprised if they've added even more to their provincial
10Ks.
roster. The
Connor
10Ks
Bedard.
might be 10Ks
there.
might be the 12Ks by the time January or February comes around. You know what? I'm going to go with Drake. They're the champs until somebody knocks them off.
True.
They've loaded up. Those Foam Lake guys are as good as any line in the province. So I'm going to take Drake. Oh, man. And in the South, I'm going to take Whinyard. And I'm going to take the Meats to repeat.
Yeah. It's probably a safe bet, Boz. I don't blame you for that.
I think they've just said, you know what? Last year they ran
Drake's
their league
good.
all year. They won Provincial A, and then it seemed like they didn't even care about league after that and didn't win the league. So I just feel like that's what they're all about. Yeah.
And they got home ice.
Yeah. Hey, like, I don't want to get away from A here, Kelly, but I just had a question. And I know you and I kind of talked one day off camera. No AAA again this year. You think it'll be hard for AAA to come back and the Allen Cup?
Yeah, it's not completely shelved, but there's just not the interest outside of maybe Alberta, Ontario, and the odd team somewhere else. So it like I said earlier in the when we started, it was about the commitment level, and it's really tough to get guys in their 20s to be able to go away somewhere for 8-10 days, and that's the struggle. So
yeah,
what about? Sorry, Barney. What about the Monday Nooner AAA Cup? Could we pull that off?
He's already ordered the rings, Kelly.
I already got the rings ordered, Kelly.
We also threw around an idea a number of years ago to all the leagues. You guys can chat this one up sometime or in the future. Is that it'd be nice to have an event somewhere in April of all the league champions getting together and playing over the course of 4 days or something, where it's just one game a day, and some of the things we got. Well, who's going to pay the guys? Well, I said, well, first of all, I hope the guys would want to play for nothing if it's at that. But it became kind of a money issue with a lot of them. And again, it's the commitment level. But I think that would be a pretty cool.
It'd be amazing.
Event.
Absolutely, it'd be unbelievable.
It'd be hard
I like
to do.
my idea, but I like my idea of getting somebody to sponsor, getting some nice rings for the fellas for the champs. Like that's what it's all about.
And
win it, you're the champs.
And the winner, it's just too bad you couldn't convince or incorporate Hockey Canada. And then the winner would get to go represent Canada. I remember back in the day when the Allen Cup team would go over the next year and in the Nagano Cup or represent Canada at something like that. Like that'd be amazing. I know
cool.
Minnestickwin went.
Lloydminster went to Poland one year. Yeah.
Very cool.
And back in your day, Kelly, too, like the one thing that, and even when I played, started playing senior in 99 or whenever, there's never been a AA. And, some of the other provinces, like Alberta was big AA country. That just kind of went the way of the, dodo.
Well, the AA was Hardy Cup. So the AAA was Allen Cup, and then you had Hardy Cup. So even I played in Hardy Cup playoffs back in those days. And actually it was about, it was 89, I think, was one of the last years I was playing for Weyburn. I was playing for the Moose Jaw Generals, and they picked up a bunch of us and we played in Hardy Cup. And then, you got into playing, we beat War Road, and then we lost to a team up by Edmonton. I can't recall the name, in best of sevens, which was really tough because you go somewhere for a best of seven. It was 7 games in 8 days. And
Wow.
so there's a lot of guys that couldn't make all 7. There was only a certain bunch of us that, some guys could make it some days and you're in and out. And then they beat us, I think, in 5 or 6 games, all really close. And then they played Charlottetown. So, and you had to pay for all their expenses. So that becomes the downfall. And I don't think Hardy Cup lasted much longer after that.
Then you went water sliding after you guys lost out in Edmonton Mall. Hey, thanks so much. Thanks so
Kelly.
much to SGI Canada again for sponsoring senior.
I was just going to say, yeah, I wanted to give a plug to, I can't say too much because it's certainly not finalized, but we're looking at doing some sort of
Yes.
bracket contest. We just want to engage all the fans where you can fill out a bracket. And if you can get all of the provincial champions correct, be entered to win something we're working on. So we want our fans to engage in that. It's just going to be a fun little thing. It's not for money or entry fee or anything like that. So watch for that on our social media. We think it'd be a fun way to engage the senior
Well,
hockey fans.
And I'll drop a little tidbit, Boz. You're not going to see it, but it's a trip. We might throw some sort of a trip in.
Yeah,
It'll be fun. It'll be good. It'll be very well worth your time.
To West
Hey
Edmonton
guys,
Mall.
I just want to
Central, the
say on
water
behalf
sliding.
of us, hey, I love what you guys do in promoting senior hockey. The games I went to last year, the rinks were packed, the 50-50s. I think the one game in game 2 in Kindersley with Outlook, I think was 15,000, 50-50. Like it was awesome. So, you know, it just shows how popular senior hockey is and people are driving from everywhere. So
Awesome.
thanks for all you do.
Thank you for allowing us this opportunity. We appreciate the, the exclusive support.
Kelly, when you're going out to some of these games, shoot the fellas a text. We might hop in with you.
Absolutely. You can,
DD.
you know,
We can guzzle.
That was fun.
You can drive in the logo truck. So
That's right.
Thanks everyone for tuning
Thanks,
in.
everyone.
Hopefully,
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks to Kelly. Monday Nooner.
Thank you.